Christopher Carter for the interview, former DK Pittsburgh columnist and reporter. Now he works for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Interviews a retired Steeler scout. He gives a big quote on Kenny Pickett, and basically this is the reason, according to him, why the Pittsburgh Steelers drafted Kenny Pickett. And I made a video about this, attesting to this, and this is the mentality. This is the top-down mentality that Kenny Pickett at the quarterback position is going to bring to the entire team. Here's the quote. He loves the process. He truly loves the process. He's an early guy, stay late guy. He's still watching tape in the building when no one else is there. Described Gorshek in regards to Pickett's commitment to excellence with the Steelers. So that's really what you are as the quarterback. You are the coach on the field. You're the eyes. You're the second eyes on the field. You got to make the checks. And Kenny Pickett was doing a lot of that last season as a rookie, going in there, making checks at the line, and making touchdown calls that put us in the end zone. And that's what you got to do. Sometimes you do got to make call checks at the line. Peyton Manning did it all the time. I mean, Ben basically went out there and did whatever he wanted. He was John Wayne out there, made all the plays, which I didn't agree with it sometimes. Sometimes you got to, you have to set the defense up. You actually have to scheme. You actually have to have a plan. You have to have set the defense up with runs. You get a dive in there that sets up a pitch, that sets up a counter, that sets up a play action fake. So yes, you got to have a scheme. You got to have a plan. You got to have your script going into the game. But if you see something that you see a mismatch, you know what I mean? If a defense is in a bad formation, say if you come out of a 3 wide receiver set and a defense is in a 3-4 formation, boom, you see a set, you got a linebacker on a wide receiver, and you got a running play on the board, and you see a linebacker matched up on a wide receiver. That's when you make a check at the line, and that's what Kenny Pickett brought as a rookie, and I think that's what he's going to bring into the second season, obviously with his work in the film room and being the first guy in the building and the last guy out of the building, getting his wide receivers in the offseason to do work, get reps in, something Ben Roethlisberger never did throughout his entire career. Can you imagine if Ben Roethlisberger was willing to put in the offseason work on his body like a Tom Brady, like a Kenny Pickett right now in the film room, instead of feeling like he was the anointed one to cook and go out there and do whatever he wants, just pretty much based off his God-given ability and his God-given size. That's the reason he was so good. That's the reason he was so great. He was just blessed. Let's be honest with it. Ben Roethlisberger was just blessed from the Lord to be 6'5", 250, and be that strong. He was just blessed. And if he would have actually put in a little bit of extra work instead of going out there and, like, self-admittedly watching porno every day and drinking beers, we probably would have already had 7 Super Bowls. So this is the type of mentality that you love to see from a quarterback. You are the leader of the team. You have to set the example for the rest of the team, not with your words, with your actions, with your play, with the work that you're putting in and day out to try to get better. They already said Kenny Pickett's put on big weight in this offseason. So it's not just talk. Kenny's out there doing it. He doesn't even talk to talk, but he's, hopefully he can go out there next season and walk the walk, because the last half of the season we were really great, and he barely threw any interceptions. I have a poll running on my Twitter right now. Will Kenny Pickett throw 10? Will Kenny Pickett throw under or over 10 interceptions next season? In my opinion, he's probably going to throw over 10 interceptions. Right now, the lead is under. He's going to throw under 10 interceptions. And I'm going to tell you right now, if he throws under 10 interceptions, this team is definitely going to make it to the postseason. And that's really all Kenny Pickett has to do, is go out there and be a game manager, because this is Najee Harris's 3rd season. I made a video that Najee Harris, I feel, is going to be a top 5 rusher, and that has to be the expectations, and that has to be the goals for Najee Harris, especially with the improvements and the added help to this offensive line. Najee Harris has to go out there and be at least a top 5 rusher in the league, and that's going to open up everything for Kenny Pickett. And all he has to do is go out there and take what the defense gives him. And this is the type of mentality, him being the first in the building and him being the last to leave, him staying in that film room. I honestly, possibly he has the capabilities of throwing under 10 interceptions. That is a very, very tall task to ask for a second-year quarterback. But he doesn't have to go out there and throw 40 touchdowns. He doesn't have to throw 50 touchdowns. He doesn't have to throw for 5,000 yards. He just has to take what the defense gives him, turn around and hand it to Najee Harris, turn around and hand it to Jaylen Warren, dump it off to Jaylen Warren. If they're blitzing, just give a nice little check down, nice little out route to Warren, give a little screen, little blitz bluster screen to Deontay Johnson, and then eventually it's going to open up the entire field for George Pickens. George Pickens is one of the best deep ball receivers in the league. So when Kenny sees that single coverage matchup down the field, you got to make them big throws. And when he's called and when he has that matchup, hopefully he can make those big throws. But this is big news. That's what the Steelers like. They like the work ethic. They like the attitude. They like the mentality. That's how the Pittsburgh Steelers drafted, and that's how they'll always draft. They like to go out there and get character guys, not just guys that, with the razzle-dazzle and the rah-rah. They like the guys that walk the walk and talk the talk. And Kenny obviously is walking the walk right now with the work he's putting in this offseason. And I like this quote. I think it's a good interview, and I think it's going to be a good season. It's going to be a tough season. There was a report today that the Steelers have a clear path to 12 wins. I think that is very, very overhyped for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I got us at 10. I got us anywhere from 8 to 10. 10 gets us in. 8 or 9 probably doesn't get us in. It's going to really come down to those division games because there is a lot of easy games. We play a lot of rookie quarterbacks. Will Levis for the Tennessee Titans. Jordan Love, he isn't a rookie, but essentially he basically is a rookie. He has many starts in the league. And there's quite a few other rookies that we're going to have to be playing against. The 49ers, first game of the season. Brock Purdy's only a second-year quarterback. Trey Lance really has no experience in the NFL. So that if we get that win against the 49ers, I'd say that's a toss-up win. If anything, we'd probably be favored by 2, maybe 3 in that game. And it's really going to come down to these division games. If we can go 3-3 in division again this year, possibly 4-2 in the division this year. We go 4-2 in the division this year, we're making the playoffs. Let's pretty much, you can put that to the bank because it's going to come down to division games because we do have a lot of easy games on the schedule, but those are still 6 games right there that are basically like a game and a half. And as much as I hate Cleveland, as much as I like to talk shit on Cleveland, they got some talent on that goddamn roster. Sad to say. They got some talent on that roster. Nick Chubb is one of the best running backs in the league. They still got that offensive line that can go out there and mow boys in the face. And in my opinion, I don't care what Colin Cowherd says. I don't care what Mark Madden says. I don't care what anybody says. All these people saying it's an aired out league, blah, blah, blah. Football, at the end of the day, is won and lost in the trenches. Plain and simple. It's won and lost in the trenches. In Cleveland, they're good in the trench, and that's what Pittsburgh's been trying to do for the past 3-4 years is improve the trench because the offensive line has just been terrible. It's been absolutely terrible. Najee Harris has had absolutely no holes. He's been basically getting stopped in the backfield, pretty much having to put the whole team on his back and the whole offense on the back. And that trend is obviously going to continue next year. We're not going to ask a second-year quarterback to go out there and be a world beater. We're not going to ask him to throw it 50 times a game. And you shouldn't have to ask him to throw it 50 times a game. We got to come in there with, in my opinion, a run-first offense, if not a balanced offense, to set everything up, to give him easy throws, to give George Pickens easy routes, single coverage like I've been talking about over the top, get Deontay Johnson going over the middle, because if Najee Harris gets going, then the defense is going to have to start bringing the blitz. They're going to have to start stacking the box, and it's just going to open up everything for Kenny Pickett. And if the linebackers want to run blitz the middle, that's going to leave the middle wide open for Deontay Johnson, and that's one of Deontay Johnson's biggest things is he's scared to go over the middle and get that catch. But if the linebackers are run blitzing the whole time, there ain't going to be no linebackers there for him to get hit going over the middle. And that's going to give him a whole lot of open field to make a little stutter step, juke that safety. And that's what Deontay Johnson is really, really great at. He was a Pro Bowl punt returner, and he's great in the open field. Once he catches the ball and starts turning upfield, that's where he can really make things happen. And that's that's going to start and it's going to stop with Najee Harris. So all these people out here talking shit on the Matt Canada offense, talking shit on the run first mentality. It's ridiculous. It's retarded. You're trying to protect the future face of the franchise, and that's Kenny Pickett, by making the game as easy as possible for him. So, and the way he's working, obviously, from the scouting department and what everything you're hearing out of the training camp, him putting on major weight, I think it could be a great year. And I honestly feel the Steelers have a very, very, very great chance to get back to the promised land. So we'll see what happens this year. I might do a schedule breakdown and, break down the games I think we're going to win, break down the games I think we're going to lose. I mean, Cincinnati's no joke. Obviously, they're the favorites. Joe Burrow. You got Lamar Jackson. He has so many weapons right now, and they drafted that dude in the first round. They went out there, got Odell Beckham Jr. So they got Lamar. Lamar's got weapons this year. Lamar has no more excuses anymore. He has no more excuses anymore. They gave him the big money. He's got all the weapons at his disposal, so he really has no excuses anymore. And Baltimore's always going to play defense. Let's be honest about it. That's their top-down philosophy. They're a run-first defensive team. That's what I love, how all these people saying, oh, this is a passing league now. This is a passing league now. Yet Baltimore has had the same philosophy since year 2000, 99, when they won the goddamn Super Bowl with Jamal Lewis and Ray Lewis. They've had that philosophy forever, and they're one of the best franchises in the league. Honestly, they're one of the most winningest franchises in the league. As much as I hate the fucking Ratbirds, but they're a winning team, and with that philosophy, running the ball, playing defense, football's a team game, and this is Najee Harris's team. Let's make no doubt about it. This isn't Kenny Pickett's team. This isn't George Pickens' team. This, offensively speaking, at least, this is a Najee Harris team. We're riding a Najee Harris train all the way to the playoffs this year. And if he's the top 5 rusher, Kenny Pickett goes out there and throws under 10 interceptions, takes what the defense gives him, makes them big, deep throws to George Pickens. And with this defense, with the additions to Patrick Peterson, Joey Porter Jr., who's impressing in camp, and all the additions to the linebacking core, which was one of our biggest weaknesses last year after TJ Watt went down. Our inside linebackers were terrible. I mean, absolutely terrible last year. Miles Jack and Devin Bush. Devin Bush was a joke. Let's just be completely honest about it. I'm glad he's gone. He was a joke. Miles Jack, he had an all right season, but I'd say he was a little bit overpaid and overhyped. Let's be honest about it. We had to cut him to free up salary cap, and we were able to make all the moves we needed to make. And we really didn't have a number 1 corner last year. So now we get one of the best corners in the draft in Joey Porter Jr., and we bring in one of the best corners of all time. Be it he might not be the same, and he might not be still playing at that level. It's a great veteran presence in that secondary, along with Mika Fitzpatrick, along with Kamezi, along with Levi Wallace, who had 4 interceptions last year, and the rest of them that we have. Young cornerbacks that can learn off of what Patrick Peterson brings to this team. So I honestly think it's going to be a great year for Pittsburgh. I believe we're going to get 10 wins. I believe we're going to be in the postseason. And like I've been saying, once you're in the dance, you always got a chance. And I think we're going to make the dance next year with Kenny at the helm, with this mentality that Kenny's bringing to the team. And I think everybody's going to buy into that mentality. They're going to follow his leadership, and he's going to lead. He's going to help lead this team along with Najee Harris to the promised land next year. And we're going to be back on top of this division. Everybody wants to talk about Cincinnati. Cincinnati, you pulled 2 good years out of your ass, Cincinnati. Congratulations. Congratulations. And you still have not been able to get it done. You got Joe Burrow. You got Jamal Chase. You got Joe Mixon, one of the best running backs in the league. You got Tyler Boyd. You got T. Higgins. You got a solid defense. You couldn't get it done, Cincinnati. You've never been able to get it done, Cincinnati. Never in the history of your pitiful, pathetic franchise, Cincinnati. So everybody hyping up Cincinnati like they're the big brother of the AFC North. Pittsburgh has won like 30, they've won 30 divisions, and the rest of them has won like 10 or 11 since like 1970. So let's be completely honest about who the real owner of the AFC North is. And I believe the trend is going to continue this year. Are we going to win a division? Maybe not. But we're going to get in the playoffs, and we're going to have a chance to win the dance. So here we go, Steelers. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm liking this team. It's a brotherhood. There's no really I mentality on this team. It's a team mentality, and I'm liking what we're seeing. I'm liking what I'm seeing.